That time of the week again, y'all. Friday Fluck-Ups. So this week, my Fluck-Up was I held on. Buckle up, buttercups. This one's a little deep. I held on to a couple of things. A few nouns, if you will. People, places, things, ideas, right? We'll start with people. There's some relationships that I've had in my life for 30 plus years at this point. And it wasn't based off of nostalgia that I was holding on, but it was holding on to a sense of loyalty, because I'm a fiercely loyal friend. However, I had to ask myself, was I being a good friend to myself by trying to be loyal and uphold a certain level of loyalty to some of these other people? And once the answer was emphatically no, I had to remember I first have to be the best friend I can to myself and to hold on to myself first and foremost. So some of that involved some cord cutting verbally directly to those people. Some of those people, it doesn't really require me to actually verbalize it. I can actually just let it float off and fade into the ethers. So I ask you, what have you been holding on to as far as people, right? And is it rooted in nostalgia? Is it rooted in a false sense of security, a false sense of superiority, whatever it is? Like, ask yourself that one. That involves people, okay? Places. There are some places that I have had a really great relationship with, in terms of business, but also as a patron, right? And I can be at times a creature of habit like other people. There's a certain amount of structure that I like, not so much monotony or like monotonous routine, but I do appreciate structure, right? And consistency, even in my own habits. But I've had to let go quite a few places that I once patronized because I've outgrown the spaces, right? I no longer can enjoy what they offer. Like, I've had to make a huge change in my diet for health reasons, and therefore I can't justify spending money someplace where I can't actually enjoy. Ambiance is great, but can't indulge, right? And I had to allow myself to mourn that. So, as it pertains to places, ask yourself, are you holding on out of familiarity? And are you holding yourself back for potentially finding some places that actually are healthier and more aligned with who and where you are right now? So we got people, we got places, things. Who else is on the purge frenzy in their home right now, right? I'm looking at stuff that I purchased during the pandemic where I had these really great ideas of what I was going to do with some things, and I forgot that I even purchased them, right? So I'm either repurposing them, donating them, offering them on my Buy Nothing group, whatever, right? But I also am not forcing myself to hold on to them because, well, you purchased them, you've bought them, now you've got to do something with them. Otherwise, it was a waste of money, and then start chastising myself in terms of, not being a spendthrift enough in this moment, whatever, right? Now, I'm just like, okay, maybe this is supposed to be a blessing for somebody else. So, can you allow something that you purchased for yourself some time ago, regardless of what it was, can you let it go to be a blessing for someone else? Can you allow yourself to be used or moved, right, in the past, making the financial investment to maybe help bless somebody else on another leg of their journey without shaming yourself for not having used the item in question? Ideas. Where do we start? I've outgrown so many modalities of like trains of thought that I thought when it comes to even my approach to spirituality. It's actually been one of the toughest things for me as a professional because I'm like, where do I stand on this? Where not so much where do my allegiances lie, but what am I working with? Who am I working with? Like, where do I fit? Or do I have a particular fit? Am I bento boxing myself in a way that's not healthy? Am I being too broad? Right? Ideas around not even politics, but humanitarian issues. Ideas around the woman that I'm becoming. and the woman that I've had to leave behind. Ideas around who I thought I was becoming, who I thought my marriage was becoming. Yes, I did personify my marriage. I think more people should. Thank you to my marriage counselor who suggested that idea to my spouse and I. It has worked wonders. Things like that, right? Swirling around and holding on to antiquated ideas and thought processes and patterns because, again, if you're trying to hold on to consistency or trying to have a false sense of, not false sense, but this deeply rooted sense of loyalty, it's like being loyal to what? Being consistent to or for what? Where is this lining up in the greater scheme of who you are becoming? And has this even been healthy? Has this been something that's been fruitful for you? Right? So that's been the very abbreviated versions of all of this, right? But I'm going to ask you, this week, I know the energy has been charged. We've got a lot happening astrologically. But I really want you to sit with this. In what ways are you allowing your loyalty to be a disservice to you? And when you can peel back the layers of that onion and allow yourself to truly lay bare before the feet of your higher self, it doesn't have to be in front of anyone else. You don't have to make this broad public spectacle of it. But ask yourself, who and or what am I being loyal to and why? And has this truly been of service to me? We live in a society that tells us that yes, on one hand, be as narcissistically selfish and self-serving as you possibly can. But the minute that you actually do it from a space of self-preservation and to be healthy and not to tear someone else down, somehow that is the worst thing that you could possibly be. Then you become admonished, you become chastised for that, and it's just like, ugh. So, the healthiest thing for you to do, make sure you shift your loyalties back to yourself. Don't feel guilty for that. Because the people, places, things, and ideas that are healthy, that are easy, that flow, that sustain that, that support that, require zero effort and zero mind fucking. So, keep your gazes forward. Have a beautiful weekend. Talk to you soon.